Welcome to Speed Weeks 1994 and practice for tomorrow's run for the pole position for next week's Daytona 500. There are several new driver team combinations this year, including Neil Bonnett, who will be up next, driving the number 51 Country Time Lumina.
Finally, tragedy struck the sports world again Friday. For the third time in 10 months, a NASCAR driver lost his life. Neil Bonnett died of injuries sustained from a head-on collision while practicing for the upcoming Daytona 500. The winner of 18 Winston Cup victories was 47 years old.
People are worried. Nobody really knows what's going on and why it's happening. And, you know, I mean, they're freak things, and nobody likes to see it. And you know, it's definitely upset the mood around here.
For Dale Earnhardt, coming to grips with the loss of his best friend is difficult, as it is for everyone.
At Daytona, moments away from the first half of the 16th annual Busch Clash. The starting lineup for today's race. Two-time winner Ken Schrader on the pole. Rookie, that's B.J. Jones alongside. In row 2, five-time winner Dale Earnhardt and a former winner Jeff Bonnett. For row 3, it's Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon. In row 4, Harry Gant, his last appearance in this race, and Rusty Wallace. For row 5, it's Ernie Irvin. He's going to be tough today, and Kyle Petty. In row 6, it's Bill Elliott, a former winner, and rookie Bobby Labonte. Starting out back, it's Brett Bodine. Field coming around the 2.5-mile Daytona track on a day that is as gray as the emotions of most here after the loss of our colleague and friend Neil Bonnett.
Well, it's been a sad couple of days, Ken, but I guess it's only fitting that we would kick off the 1994 stock car season with a Neil Bonnett type of event. He loved to go for broke, short type races and no holes barred. He was the first driver to win this race twice. And even though there are a lot of sad hearts on the racetrack and wherever fans are here, if Neil Bonnett could speak to those drivers, he would say, forget the sadness for the moment, go out and give your very best. And I think that's what we can expect of this field. Here we are again, Kyle Petty down on the inside. He leaves Mark plenty of room up on the outside, but Kyle makes the pass. And here comes Jeff Gordon. The car number 6 of Mark Martin caught up on the outside, and the draft goes by on the inside. Ooh, look at Gordon gets a little bit skirmish there as he went around. There's Earnhardt going up on the outside. Jeff Gordon in the multicolored number 24 coming with him up on the outside. There's Jeff Bodine. Made some major repairs on his car during this stop. Ooh! Jeff Gordon and Brett Bodine get together a little bit, but they gather them back in.
Earnhardt up to 4th. Jeff Gordon goes into 5th with the number 24.
Darren, what about Jeff Gordon? He followed Dale just like this in the closing laps of last year's 500. Did he learn enough to beat him here?
He likes Dale better than he does Ernie.
Jeff Gordon, number 24, the rookie who finished 5th in the 500 a year ago, closes in on Earnhardt. And the Kenny Bernstein car, number 26, Brett Bodine, looking very good out here in 4th.
Well, Brett knows he has got to pass at least one more car before he has a shot.
Earnhardt to the inside.
Earnhardt making his move earlier than we thought he might.
Irvin trying to counter. Not much you can do right there.
But look, Gordon's up there following the board. But he wants to, well, maybe now he pulls down to the inside, going to give Earnhardt a little bit of help. But it looked like for a moment he's going to help Ernie. But now he gets there. Now he wants to take the lead. Now he's in position to do it.
3 wide.
Makes the pass. Good move. Here comes Brett Bodine. He'll follow Gordon into 2nd.
Shocker here. Gordon going into 1st. Brett Bodine to 2nd. And relegated back to 3rd. And Earnhardt's car looks squirrely going into 3 that time.
Yeah. Getting mixed up in the air that comes off of the cars there just in that particular part of the racetrack.
White flag is out. They touch at 190 miles per hour. Jeff Gordon, no rookie anymore. Stays out in front. Brett Bodine in 2nd. Earnhardt doing a masterful job picking that car up in control. Remember, they're floating like feathers at 190 miles an hour around this racetrack.
But Ernie early back.
Here he comes back one more time.
Moves to the inside. Look down there for Brett Bodine. Said, no, that's my spot. Oh, Earnhardt is very loose. Goes high on the racetrack. Gathers it back in. That cost him no chance to catch up with them now as they come for the checkered flag.
Down the stretch for the final time. Jeff Gordon in front. Brett Bodine's going to make a shot. short. Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon and the Rick Hendrick Chevrolet has defeated Ernie Irvin, has defeated Mark Martin and Earnhardt. "22-year-old Jeff Gordon becomes the 10th different winner in the 16 years of the Busch Clash. And next Sunday, he'll be carrying a CBS camera as he goes in quest of the great American race. Hope you'll be with us for that event here, which will have Loy Allen Jr. on the pole, a rookie, and Dale Earnhardt looking for his first 500 winner. Be with us. '17th Olympic Winter Games.
Two tragic deaths over a 4-day span. The latest Monday. Rodney Orr lost control and crashed hard on the track's second turn. The track was clear and dry. Conditions were good. Witnesses say his Ford Thunderbird flipped at a high speed and the driver's side roof hit the wall. Orr was pronounced dead upon arrival at hospital. The cause of death, massive head and upper body injuries.
That I guess you kind of get lured into a false sense of feeling that you can't get hurt in these things, but you're still going very fast, and no matter how hard you try to put protection in these cars, they can be dangerous in the wrong situation, and I guess it's unfortunate we found that out this week.
1993 NASCAR Dash champion Rodney Orr was killed Monday in a Winston Cup practice crash. He died of massive head injuries and became the 27th fatality in the track's 35-year history. Rodney Orr was 33 years old and was was running his first official laps when the accident occurred.
Welcome to Daytona as the curtain rises on the 1994 NASCAR season. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Economaki. The script for Speed Weeks 94 called for an exciting and upbeat first act. However, it has been a tragic opening. Two drivers, our CBS colleague, NASCAR legend Neil Bonnett, and newcomer Rodney Orr, both died in pre-race practice sessions. And everyone in the sport, drivers, promoters, car owners, knows they are in the entertainment business. Therefore, the show must go on. So, the business at hand is to set the field for tomorrow's $2.7 million Daytona 500. For more, here's my colleagues Ken Squire and Ned Jarrett.
Well, thank you very much, Chris. I talked to Susan Bonnett this morning, and she wanted me to express the family's appreciation for all the support of you fans across America at this time. You have really buoyed the spirits of Kristen and David and Susan, and they very much appreciate it.
Well, they certainly do, and it's very important, and our prayers and best wishes continue to be with Susan and the Orr family as well. And both of those drivers would, as Chris said, would want the show to go on. If they were here, they'd say, hey, go ahead, put it out of your mind as much as you can, and let's get on with it.
We think we're going to see the most competitive 500 in history, and we're about to see the races that set it up. But for just a moment, let's talk about Neil Bonnett. You know, he was not only a great racer with 18 Winston Cup victories, but he was our colleague, and over many dinners, he was our teacher. He was just a wonderful person to be around. And some of those friends of his over here in the garage area wanted to share with you their thoughts about Neil Bonnett.
Well, Neil's concentrating so hard there that the parent is not paying any attention to anything on the outside. Neil, are you hearing us now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, how are things looking?
Everything looks good. Boy, what a sight. All the people with the J.D. Allison banners up. An opportunity for me to go back racing like this is kind of mixed emotions, but we're going to see what we can do here. It's going to be a lot of fun.
he doesn't like Neil Bonnett. You know, my brother raced with him as a teammate, loved him. My mom and dad, they don't know many drivers in here. They've been around it their whole life. Basically, Darrell and I are the only two they're ever around. But they love Neil Bonnett.
This is tough for me to do right now, but he had a personality that was just pretty special.
I always felt like any time that Neil Bonnett was around, you was around the greatest one guy that our racing had to offer.
That's part of his life, and the part that made him happy, like deer hunting and fishing. So I understood that, and I respect him, and I don't think he would change anything.
He raced, and he was a star. He went into television, and he was a star. And I'm sure that he's a star wherever he is today.
Out the windshield of Jeff Gordon's car, and you can see that Earnhardt and Marlin just pulling away from him.
It's the first mistake the kid has made this week, letting them get away.
Well, yeah, and it's possible that maybe if they've made an adjustment on it, maybe they got a little too tight. That's Bill Elliott in the red car. Bill, a two-time winner of the Daytona 500. Jeff Gordon, we're looking out the windshield as Brett Bodine tries to move around Bill Elliott.
I think we're off the bumper cameras that low.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a pretty good shot there, Ned. It gets you right down on the track. Worm's eye view.
Daytona International Speedway. This was to have been a glorious opening to a new NASCAR season. It's not. I'm Chris Economack. The deaths of racing legend Neil Bonnett and newcomer Rodney Orr during practice on the track here has stunned and saddened the racing world. But nowhere has the effect been more evident than at Thursday's pre-race drivers' meeting.
I'm tired of losing my friends and my friends getting hurt. I don't know about you guys. I hope you got a lot of consideration for other competitors instead of a lot of balls and no brains. We don't need that in this sport. I've been upside down here at Daytona. I've been upside down at Talladega. And let me tell you, it hurts, okay? These cars just don't drive down the straightaways and flip upside down by themselves. They just don't spin out by themselves. They just don't go flying through the grass by themselves. That happens because we hit people. We run into each other. I'm just as guilty at it as anybody else. I'm trying to change. Earnhardt, Ernie, myself, Kenny, all of us, we've all done it. We're trying to get it to stop. Use your head. If the car does not handle, it's not going to fix itself. Make a pit stop and work on it. Please respect each other. We can do that. There's no problem with that. Anybody got anything else to say?
Well, he's right. We just 18-foot car won't fit in a 9-foot hole, and there ain't no way to put it in there without causing a hell of a mess. And we had a reality check this week, you know, with a couple guys, and it's the first race here. We got to use our heads.
I think everybody's got more concern for this race than they've had in a long time. And I think I even go out on a limb and say that I think every damn body in this room is running a little bit scared. And I will tell you, my wife is running damn scared, and I think the rest of your wives and families are too. So use your damn heads, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Daytona International Speedway requests that you join us now in a moment of remembrance as the Reverend Hal Marchman offers our invocation.
Today, we want to honor the memories of 4 outstanding NASCAR drivers whom we have lost in the last year. Neil Bonnett was a unique person, friendly, caring, and with a contagious smile. A friend said that when two people were talking about Neil, they were always smiling. Rodney Orr, a bright, promising, ambitious young driver, came to the end of his career in life far too young. In 1993, Alan Kulwicki and Davy Allison were killed in off-track accidents. Let us pause for a moment of silence in memory of these four drivers and their families. Almighty God, we give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, and for his mercy endureth forever. Help us never to get too busy, or too excited, or too worried, or too sad, or too happy, or too lowly, or too famous, or too rich, or too poor, to remember that you are our God and we are your people. We thank you for these great loyal fans and for this wonderful, exciting time. Shalom and amen.
The starting lineup for the 36th annual Daytona 500. On the pole, the first rookie ever, Loy Allen Jr. Beside him, winner of 23 races at Daytona, but never the 500, Dale Earnhardt. In row 2, it's the 91 500 winner, Ernie Irvan and Sterling Marlin. In row 3, Rusty Wallace and the sophomore Jeff Gordon. Row 4 is Mark Martin with the 85 and 87 winner, Bill Elliott. Row 5 is Texas Terry Labonte and Brett Bodine. Row 6 is the youngest of the Bodine brothers, Todd and Stafford. Row 7, Ken Schrader and Michael Waltrip. Row 8, a new Winston Cup comer, John Andretti and the 90 champion Derek Cope. Row 9, third yesterday in the 300, Chad Little and Wally Dallenbach Jr. Row 10 is Robert Presley and Ricky Rudd. Row 11, Jimmy Spencer with Lake Speed. Row 12, Bobby Hamilton and Ted Musgrave. Row 13, Jimmy Hensley and last year's pole sitter Kyle Petty. Row 14, Dick Trickle and Jimmy Horton. In row 15, Dave Marcus makes his 27th start in the 500 and Rick Nass. Row 16, Greg Sachs and the 1989 champion Darrell Waltrip. Row 17 is Texas Bobby Hillin Jr. and California's Joe Ruttman. Row 18, Jeff Burton and Harry Gant. Row 19, Chuck Bound driving for Bobby Allison and Hut Strickland. Row 20, Jeff Bodine and Jeremy Mayfield. The provisional starters, last year's winner, Dale Jarrett and Bobby Labonte. Always a dramatic moment. Always put your hair on end. Feel your spine tingling at this time as we get set to see this one go. Earlier this week, received a note from Susan Bonnett. It goes like this. Our family would like to express our thanks to friends and fans for their outpouring of love and support this past week. We've been blessed by your prayers, your cards, calls, gifts, flowers, food, and visits. We were especially touched by a gift sent by William Barry Jones, a Purple Heart Barry received in the Vietnam War, which he wanted us to have in memory of Neil. We all shared in Neil's life, and we share our sorrow with you in his passing. Neil would wish all of you to put this behind and move on. He loved life, he loved racing, and he would say, let's get this show on the road. In Christian love, Susan Bonnett and family. Dropping the flag on the great American race. Good luck to David Bonnett, who starts his racing career this spring.
And look at Jeff Gordon coming up in there in the car number 24. He's moved up to fourth now.
The 22-year-old Jeff Gordon into fourth.
It's amazing that Gordon, he just announced his engagement, disappointing any number of young ladies around.
Yeah, Wednesday night. As snuggling right into third comes Jeff Gordon. What a man on a mission he is out here. What a clash he ran a week ago. Keeps on finding holes and diving into them.
Field is still under caution. Jeff Gordon's the new leader.
Jeff Gordon is just having a remarkable time here at Daytona. He loves this racetrack. We were talking about that move he made on Urban and Earnhardt with the assistance of a very strong running Brett Bodine to win the Clash. If you missed it last week on CBS, it was a thriller. Here's Mike Joy.
Jeff Gordon's had a pretty good week so far. The other night he gave Brooke Seeley a ring with a rock the size of a lug nut. They're engaged. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Was that a big surprise?
Very much a surprise. It was our 1-year anniversary, and he took me to this little French restaurant. He had a private room, and then he popped the question. Yeah, he's just been full of surprises this week, winning the Busch Clash and proposing, and maybe he'll surprise us all today and win this race.
Congratulations. They met at last year's 125-mile qualifier in Victory Lane. She's the girl on the left in your picture. Now they're engaged.
The dating game at Daytona 500, Chris.
Been popping
Gordon.
Been popping the clutch, now he popped the question.
Talented young man with a lot of
Isn't he talented?
pride in his future.
13 years old. He was handling those 700 horsepower sprint cars. And he is just if there is such a thing in this sport as the natural, he's one of them in the tradition of Earnhardt. Here's David Hobbs. The Hendrick cars are running well today. The Jeff Gordon car in the midst of that is back in 5th.
Well, there's the other two Hendrick cars, Terry Labonte in car number 5 and Ken Schrader.
8th and 9th. Spot to really pull a sophomore sensation move in this one. And he just, you know, some drivers have a little reservation about these big 2.5 or 2.6 mile tracks. Not Gordon. He thinks this is a 3rd mile.
He's not intimidated at all.
We're back. The pits have just been opened on lap 81. There's been a major incident in turn 3. Ernie Irvan was involved. Something had happened to his car, just fallen off the pace. We can go to Mike Joy and get an update quickly.
We told you how important these Jackmen are, and Jeff Gordon has a new one. Ray Evernham hired Barry Muse. Here he comes around to the front of the car with a jack. He runs a health club in Charlotte. Puts muscles on some of these other crude guys. He proved to be quick and fast. Jeff Gordon is once again. He's first in and first out of the pits.
Jeff Gordon doing a good job. The Ernie Irvan car has come on pit road. It's coming back out again as it fell back, and we hope to get maybe see some pictures of it in a moment. Riding out with Ernie Irvan. This incident developing up in turn 3 has taken 2 of the Bodine brothers out. Brett Bodine, Todd Bodine, Musgrave's car getting collected. There's the Jack Roush number 16 all torn up in the nose. This incident in turn 3 just at the 200-mile mark of the 94 Daytona 500. And here's Brett Bodine's car being pushed in. Todd Bodine, a lot of damage, but we saw Todd climb out. He was okay. Brett appears to be all right. Doesn't seem as though anyone's been hurt in this. But again, the 28 car seemed to shuffle back, and then all of a sudden, everything broke loose. Let's take a look at a group of replays that we've assembled for you.
Okay, here we go into turn 3. Earnhardt's in the lead, and Jeff Gordon and Todd Bodine bump, and that's Bodine spinning around down to the inside. See, Ernie Irvan had dropped back quite a bit before that happened. We had mentioned that his car was getting very loose, and then other cars start coming in as Bodine is spinning around. There, Michael Waltrip gets hit. There's Brett Bodine in the green car that gets pushed into the wall. Okay, a different look. Here's Bodine down on the inside, Jeff Gordon up on the outside, and you see they touch right there, and it sends Todd Bodine spinning the wrong way into the wall. The car comes up off the ground, the flaps come up, keeps it back down on the ground. Some cars get by okay. but then all the smoke, there's Ernie Irvin coming down the inside. He had dropped back to about 6th or 7th position.
And that had happened right as they went down the back straightaway. He'd been right up there with the leaders and then fell back, but he was not part of that incident.
You can see other cars coming through. Jimmy Spencer there in the car number 27 gets hit, and there's Brett Bodine coming in, nowhere to go. There's Ted Musgrave in the car number 16. Michael Walter spinning around in the yellow number 30. And
Brett Bodine in the 26 getting caught.
It looked like Bodine.
One more angle as to come. I don't think Todd probably didn't know that Jeff Gordon was out there, and they just touched and sent him right into the wall the wrong way.
It looked as though Bodine cut across the bow of Gordon there.
And then as other cars come in, tries to slow down, well, they get involved. Michael Walter thought he was okay. He thought he was through it. And then all of a sudden he gets hit.
Right up off the bottom.
So another major incident here at the Daytona International Speedway. Here's a look from Ernie Irvin's car. Now, remember, he had dropped back just before that, and he sees all this happening. There's Bodine's car had gone up on the wall. Irvin drives low, hoping that Bodine stays up there, and he does. So Irvin gets through okay.
Lake speed, and look how quickly your vision goes.
Oh,
away.
Boy. Yeah, the water and the oil and mess. He couldn't see anything. The miracle he got through. But I guess he did.
Here you see the cars involved in the second crash of the day, and the report is that they're all right. That's good news, Chris. Everybody's okay after this problem up in turn number 2 that looked pretty serious. And Jimmy Spencer, actually, he was very lucky in that one. The second major incident of the day, the third caution period after a crash in turn 3 here at Daytona. The good news is that all the drivers are reported all right after a 190-mile-an-hour get-together in which Jimmy Spencer came from the bottom of the track, and it was reminiscent of some tragic accidents here earlier this week. But number 30, Michael Waltrip, was up on the outside and absorbed a lot of energy, but it looked like one of those cars grabbing for the outside wall. It's a hard hit for Michael Waltrip, but it might have saved him out there.
Yeah, it could have.
Todd Bodine, you were just having a great race. What happened up at turn 3?
Well, you know, I was just riding along trying to draft and get some drafting experience, and Ernie got loose and had to check up, and Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon had to check up, and I got a run on him, and you know, I was just going to pass them, and instead of me getting past checking up with them, I was going to pass them, and I pulled out, and then Jeff pulled out, and I had to give him room, and evidently there wasn't enough room for him, and he got in the quarter panel. It's a real shame. The Factory Stores of America, Ford Thunderbird, Adidas came on board this year as a sponsor, and we were just trying to get some good time, good experience, draft. You know, there's a lot of people out there that give me a break. You know, a couple times I messed up, and they let me in, even Earnhardt and Ernie, a couple of them. They, you know, I'd mess up and they let me back in line, but for some reason Jeff just got a little anxious or something.
Well, both young kids at the Daytona 500, the great race, and Mike Joy's got more down pit lane.
Well, once Jeff Gordon got his radio communication back, and the radios are fine, but somebody was blocking their frequency or a microphone was left open. It didn't contribute to the crash, but it took him a while to explain to his crew what happened. And his version is that Ernie Irvin got loose, and as Irvin got loose, Gordon had to check up, and he and Todd got together. Nothing intentional, no trying to jump into line. Racing incident.
With Mark Martin in second, Terry Labonte is in third, and Dale Earnhardt is in fourth. How do they race? From inside Jeff Gordon's car. Listen to this.
Okay, that is close racing, folks. I think gave him a little bit of a tap.
We heard there was a ting in there you could hear. Yeah. Wood Brothers have won this thing 4 times. Tiny London 63. Cale Yarborough 68. Foyt 72. And David Pearson.
And Ken, they've named the grandstand after Tiny London.
Yeah.
That's great.
Over there in turn 2. He liked that. You can overlook the lake. Remember when Tiny had the record for the biggest bass, 55 pounds? What fish was that? But anyway, great fisherman, a great race driver. Good friend. Lost his life in the mid-70s at Talladega after he won here in 1963. And what a dramatic, remember that dramatic story where Marvin Pants was to drive and he got upside down in a sports car and burned, and Tiny helped rescue him, so they put him in the car and he came out here and won the 500. Take a look at this. Here's Dave Marcus in that 71. He's getting his engines this year out of the Rick Hendrick books and hopes to be doing better, and he's running 21st right now. And back there with him, you see the car number 7, Bodine's car, which is running 22nd. Jeff Gordon just 22, and he's up to 3rd. Once again here today, he had a 5th place finish in the 500 last year. There you see Terry Labonte carrying right along after him. Just behind him comes Schrader. I'm really impressed with Ken Schrader. But Terry Labonte's there to help Gordon. Holds him right underneath.
Teammate. Gordon is about half of Earnhardt's age. Absolutely unfazed by running door handle to door handle with Earnhardt.
Racer. And here's Jeff Gordon. At 21, he came in here and finished 5th in this race a year ago. Won the 125-miler. Rookie of the year back.
Cale Yarborough won this race 2 years in a row as a driver. Now he's a car owner. First Cale's strategy. You didn't come in on that last caution flag. You're playing for another caution?
Well, we hoping, you know, there may be another caution, but we couldn't go all the way anyway. So we just stayed out trying to get our position a little bit on the racetrack. We've been a little bit loose all day, and now he's got all over his windshield from following that 90 car. But we go hang in there. Derek's doing a good job in the finger hunt and off the belt forward.
He led on the restart, and due to oil on the windshield, has faded back out of that lead pack.
Yes, he has, Mike, to 16th position now. Derek Cope driving for Cale Yarborough. There's that tiny Lund grandstand back on the second turn on the outside. That new facility just put up in memory of our great former champion here out of Harlan, Iowa, the 63 winning for the Wood brothers. Here's Jeff Gordon. And remember, he's 5th.
Those 7 cars, a little bit of a lead over Greg Sachs, who is running in the 8th place. Greg having a good run here today. And DKO